It's never been more satisfying to root for a badass hero with a badass attitude. And finally, after 20 years since their epic action thriller Man on Fire stunned the viewers, it now appears that the Oscar-winning Denzel Washington and Dakota Fanning are prepared to reunite. The Equalizer is a reboot of the iconic television series of the same name that Richard Wenk and Michael Sloan created in the 1980s. The Equalizer 3 will hit the theaters, and Denzel Washington will return as the lead character, according to an official announcement. The movie will be released on September 1st, 2023, and will be shown in IMAX and premium large formats. The first Equalizer movie, which was produced and directed by Antoine Fuqua, appeared in 2014. It was largely based on the 1980s TV series of the same name. 4 years later, with Fuqua once again in charge, a sequel was released. When The Equalizer 2 was released, Fuqua indicated an interest in continuing the series. Fans of the show started to doubt whether they would be able to see the trilogy finished. Since the release of The Equalizer 2 in 2018, there have been few articles mentioning the third movie. Even now, there is no formal confirmation of the movie. Back in January, during promotion for The Tragedy of Macbeth, Denzel Washington said in an interview, "They have written the third Equalizer, so I'm scheduled to do that. So I gotta get in shape and start beating people up again. I get to beat people up again. The Tragedy of Macbeth, and then going and beating some people up. Can't get any better, right?" There's still plenty of time for things to change, and since release dates have been shifting frequently over the past year, there's no assurance that the September 1st date will hold. Nevertheless, it appears that the film business is getting more stable, and given that filming will start this year, a 2023 release date appears possible. Sometimes, it's simple to forget that Denzel Washington has an extensive filmography that includes both award-worthy dramas and action thrillers. However, The Equalizer serves as a powerful reminder. Yes, it is loosely based on the 1980s television series of the same name, which starred Edward Woodward as a former covert operator who became a guardian angel for innocent victims. It is a combination of Man on Fire, Taxi Driver, and both. Denzel, at the age of 67, is still dependable as a man who gets the job done when the meanies run amok and who still draws a crowd to theaters when he does it. Unlike many of those AARP card carriers in The Expendables, being non-selfish is one quality that you have to admire about Denzel Washington as an actor. He understands that sharing the screen with someone else is a dance, even if he constantly delivers strong performances. Although he may frequently take the lead, he recognizes the importance of his on-screen partner. In the case of Ashton Sanders, this is especially true. Sanders never gives the impression that he is just there or that he is replaceable, despite the fact that Washington may be yelling at him, making jokes about him, and other things of that kind. The dynamic we experienced in The Great Debaters, the original Equalizer, and Man on Fire is carried over into Equalizer 2. Washington positions himself as an experienced professional who isn't out to outdo the newcomer. Make sure they have their day in the spotlight, but push them to the point where they are eclipsed and become a liability. Give it the impression that they aren't just new actors, because they have potential. Washington's Robert McCall lives a low-key Spartan-like solo existence as a cashier at a Home Depot-like store in the Boston region, executing a perfect calm. While his co-workers respect him and look to him for guidance, they also have questions about his history. When he tells a group of young men that he was once a pip, a backup singer and dancer for Gladys Knight, they almost believe him, since Washington demonstrates some smooth old-school moves. But after meeting a sweet but wounded teen call girl who hangs out at the restaurant between customers, he will soon be called upon to pull his fighting skills out of hibernation. McCall is prepared to take over when her regular late-night dessert date is missed after a nasty assault by her Russian pimp that sends her to the hospital. The fact that the villains consistently misjudge him is part of the pleasure, if you want to label it that. And they pay a high price for it. The Equalizer is especially noteworthy since it pairs Washington again with Antoine Fuqua, the director behind his Oscar-winning role in 2001's Training Day. With repeated shots of flowing water as through purging evil, Fuqua enjoys turning acts of brutality into a grotesque ballet. Even though The Equalizer isn't as lean and deadly as it could be, because of all of that, it's still fine. We enjoyed witnessing Washington transform common hardware supplies into deadly weapons, despite the fact that some people could be critical of the absurd confrontation that is taking place in the darkly lit aisles of McCall's megastore workplace. As we previously mentioned, Washington is returning to the role of Robert McCall, a former Marine and Defense Intelligence Agency agent who now acts as a vigilante defender for people unable to defend themselves. His day job was working at a hardware store in the previous movie, but in the Equalizer 2, he was a Lyft driver. It's unclear what kind of ordinary day job he'll have in the third movie. It's quite unlikely that any characters from the second movie would appear, but Ashton Sanders, who played Miles, the young artist who Robert likes, might make an appearance. Dakota Fanning, who previously collaborated with Washington on the Tony Scott film Man on Fire, has also been confirmed by Deadline to star in the picture. Additionally, a second season relaunch of the show, starring Queen Latifah as Robin McCall, is presently airing on CBS. All other cast information has currently been kept under wraps. Richard Wenk, who also authored the sequel to The Equalizer, will compose the screenplay. Unsurprisingly, Fuqua is back to direct the third film. We can't imagine an Equalizer movie with anyone else in charge, because he was already considering the possibility of another sequel back in 2018. Fuqua already discussed his intentions for the third installment. He told Cinema Blend, "I would love for it to take place internationally. I think Denzel would be a great James Bond-type character. At such an early stage of the production, it is nearly difficult to predict what the movie would be about. Given that, it is safe to assume that McCall will use violence liberally to help a person who is less fortunate than him." While Man on Fire prepared the way for Washington to kick ass in future movies, like the Equalizer series, the movie is also remembered for the heartwarming scenes between Washington and Fanning, who plays her devoted and caring bodyguard. Sony and Fuqua saw this as the ideal chance to bring the two actors back together. Given that the previous two movies took place largely in Boston, it would make sense for the third movie to take place abroad, to shake up the movie's formula. In a recent interview with Slash Film, Fuqua was asked what he hoped to reveal about Robert McCall in the most recent Equalizer movie. The director said that finding out more about the character will be essential to the upcoming movie. In addition, he provided details on the setting of the third Equalizer film. Hopefully, reveal a little bit more about Robert. Yeah, I think that's the key, to learn more about Robert McCall. We're shooting it in Italy, so that'd be fun. We're going to Scalp now. Sardinia, probably show up somewhere up the Amalfi Coast. Also, trying to find some small villages, seaside villages, things like that. And then we'll be in Sicily and Naples. Based on Fuqua's statements, it sounds like the Equalizer 3 may finally give the character a more detailed backstory, and taking Robert McCall and his particular set of skills abroad has always been his dream. Even though the story's details are yet unknown, it has been made clear that Italy will be the location for the third Equalizer movie. So prepare yourself to watch Denzel equalizing in Italy this time. On a related note, we wanted to know, what are your expectations of the Equalizer 3? Let us know in the comment section below. If you'd like to see more amazing videos such as this one, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of them. And as always, thanks for watching, guys.